Welcome everyone. Today we are going to go over how to do the Word 2013 Chapter 1 textbook project, which is the flyer with a picture. Our learning target for that is I can modify, format, and edit a flyer with a picture. And so the first thing that we all need to do is go to our SAM account. Okay, so log into SAM with your account and click on the Activity List tab. Make sure that you're in the correct class for whatever class it is that you're in. And when you get to this screen with the assignments, the assignment that we're doing is this Chapter 1 textbook project. So we're going to click on that link to open it. Once we open that, we will see some information here that we need to read over and know that our minimum passing score is 95 and that the maximum number of submissions we're allowed is 3. So we want to go ahead and click Start. And then up here at the top, it's always going to show you whatever files you need to download to your computer in order to complete this assignment. So it's telling us this is our start file and this is our support file, so we need to download both of those. So we're going to click on both of them to download them. If you're using Google Chrome, then they're going to download to the toolbar here and automatically go to your Downloads folder. So we want to go ahead and move those by clicking this up arrow and saying Show in Folder. Once we do that, it's going to show us those two files. We can either draw a rectangle around to select those files or hit Control A on the keyboard for the shortcut for Select All. And then we want to cut these and permanently move them into the file folders that we created the first day of class. So we're going to right click and say Cut to permanently move them. And you guys will be going to your W drive with your student ID number next to it to do this. I'm at home creating this video, so I don't have that here. So I'm going to go to my USB drive where I have my computer skills folder created already for here. So go into your computer skills folder, into our Word folder, and this one's going to go in this Chapter 1 textbook project folder because that's which assignment it is. So we're going to double click to go inside of that. Right click and paste those two files that we're going to need to use. And then we want to open this first file right here that says New Microsoft Word document, and then it should have your name after it. So we're going to double click and open that file. You can minimize that and get it out of the way. Now sometimes when you open the file, you'll have a yellow bar that comes up across the top of your screen that you'll have to click a button on there that says Enable Editing before it will let you go to this view to actually work or do anything to the document, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start this in just a minute, but right now I'm going to minimize it to show you how to get to the textbook because this is a textbook project, so we have to follow along with the textbook in order to complete it. And just in case I didn't say it already, you want to make sure that these two files you downloaded, you do cut and move to your W drive, because if you do not, when you log off of your computer, they are going to get deleted. And then if you've done half of the document already during the class period and saved it, and you log off and it deletes it, then tomorrow you will have to start all over again. So always make sure that you are cutting those and moving them to their new home in those computer skill folders that we created. So also in this project assignment directions, there are the instructions right here that have a link straight to the textbook, the online version of our textbook that has all of the instructions for this assignment. You can click on it by going right here. If you don't have this screen open and you happen to be working on this at home or from somewhere else and you want to get to it, it is always down here after the last assignment. It says reading next to it, so you know it's the correct thing. You can get to it from here as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that and open it. The first time you guys open it, it's going to ask you to accept the terms of it, and it'll show you a quick tutorial on how to use all these buttons. If the pop-up comes up here telling you that plugins were blocked on this page, you may need to turn them on. We won't need them for this assignment, I don't think, so I'm just not going to worry about that. So this one is Word Chapter 1. So we're going to click on that chapter. I'm going to go ahead and maximize this screen for us so we can see it. And right here, it gives you the objectives of what you're going to learn, what you're going to master in this chapter. So how to enter text into a Word document, check spelling as you type, format paragraphs, format text, undo and redo commands or actions, changing theme colors, inserting digital pictures into a Word document, formatting pictures, adding a page border, adjusting spacing, changing those document properties, correcting errors and revising a document, and print and read a document. We actually don't do this last step right here because there's no need for us to print the assignment. We're not going to waste the paper in class, so we're going to skip that last part. And then down at the end, it always gives you a little introduction on what it is we're creating and why you might create something like that. So in this case, we're creating a flyer, and the reason most people create a flyer is to advertise something that's on sale, promote a business, publicize an event, some kind of flyer that they want to hand out or hang up somewhere in a public location so that other people can see what's going on. Okay? So that's what you need to know about that information right there. To navigate in the online version of the textbook, there are these little arrow keys right over here. You're just going to click on it to go to the next page. On this page, it shows you guys exactly what our flyer is going to look like when it's completed. So this is what we're doing, is we're making this flyer. When we're done, we will have added this page border here. The headline is the first line. We'll put this picture in here. Everything right here is called the body copy. And then this very last line in a flyer is called your signature line. Okay? So this is what it's going to look like when we're done. If yours does not look like this when you're done, then you don't want to submit it to be graded until it does look like this. Okay? So you'll have to go back and figure out what it is you need to fix. So we're going to continue on here. This just tells you again what it is we're going to be doing. So we're going to keep going. There are videos in here that you guys can watch on how to do certain things. This is just showing you how to open up Microsoft Word and start it. We already did that by clicking on our project to open it, so we don't need to follow those steps. And all of these first steps right here, so anything in the book that has a yellow label with a number inside of it is a step that you need to complete. In the actual physical textbook that you guys have in the classroom, it's a red circle with a number inside of it. Okay? These steps right here we don't need to complete because we have already downloaded a file and opened it. So none of those are needed. So we're going to go ahead and click next again. And then it's going to show us how to do the very first step, which is entering text on the document. Okay. And then it shows us that text right here. So it wants us to type this word right here, adventure, as the headline paragraph. So we're going to go over here and pull Word up. And before we do this, the first thing you guys always want to do after you open a document is rename it to the name that it's going to need to be when you upload it. And it always shows you what that name is on the project. So if I go here and click back on this project and I scroll down where it shows me where to upload my files, it always tells you right here exactly what it is your file is supposed to be named. And the easiest thing to do is just to copy and paste this. Everything before the .docx, do not put that part in there because the computer automatically does it and just hides that from you. So you don't want to copy that part or it's not going to let you upload the file to turn it in. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to come over here to my document and do a File, Save As. I want to save it in that same location that I just opened it from. So in this case, in that Chapter 1 Textbook Project folder. And I'm just going to click here and paste in the name that needs to go there and say Save. So now I can see up here that it is my new document with the correct name. All right. Another trick to this that you can use while you're doing this, so even if you're watching this video while you're completing this, or if you're going through the textbook while you're completing it, it's a lot easier to not have to flip back and forth between your different screens. So you may want to put your windows side by side, or stacked on top of each other to make it easier to see what you're doing, okay? So we are going to go ahead and do that. So we want this adventure flyer right here open that we're going to be using, and then we're also going to be using the textbook right here. So with those two files open, I can right click anywhere down here on the toolbar and say either show windows stacked, which will put them one on top of one another, or side by side, which will put them side by side, okay? I'm going to actually do them stacked for the purpose of this, and sometimes it doesn't do them all the way out here like we want them to, because this lets us see more of the screen so that we can actually see what's up here on the ribbon and everything, versus us doing it the other way where you can only see a portion of the screen up here, making it harder for you guys to find things that you're being asked to do. Okay, so here are our instructions for the first step to type the word adventure with an exclamation point. So we're just going to click down here in our document and we're going to type that word adventure with an exclamation point. It even shows you to make sure anything that has this red box around it is something it's wanting you to make sure that you do when it shows you the diagrams, the little talking figures here. So you want to make sure you do those things. We're on the normal style. It wanted us to type adventure with an exclamation point, and that's what we did. So we're going to go ahead and click the next arrow. And here it wants us to display and hide the formatting marks. So it tells us, there's a little video again that you can watch with it, but we're just going to look at the picture down here and see. It wants us to show or hide the paragraph symbol. So on the Home tab in the paragraph section. So everything that's up here on the blue bar is a tab. So if I say go to the Design tab, you're going to go to the tab up here. And this right here is the ribbon. So this is where I'm pointing out to you a certain section of the ribbon that you need to go to do whatever it's instructing us to do. So in this case, it's instructing us to be on the Home tab in the paragraph section of the ribbon to turn on the paragraph symbols right here. So we're going to click that to turn it on. And when we do, it's going to put that paragraph symbol after our word right there. And then once we do that, that is the only step I think on that page. We'll double check. So there's our instructions. And that is the only instruction on that page. So we're going to click next again. And it wants us to insert a blank line. So it says to press the enter key to insert a blank line. Easy enough. I'm going to press enter. It puts that blank line in there. There's nothing else on that page, so we're going to click next. Here it wants us to zoom in to make the document page width so it fits all the way across the screen. Okay, so to do that, it wants us to go to the View tab right here. And then it wants us to go to the Zoom section of the ribbon and click on Page Width. And then that's going to put that across our entire screen. It makes it a little easier to read and see what you're doing. And it looks like that is the only thing on that page. So we're going to go to the next page again. This page is just telling you that word wrap is on. So anytime you're typing a sentence, you don't have to hit enter at the end of the line. Just continue typing and it's going to wrap the word automatically to the next line of text. Okay. You only need to press enter if you're creating a new paragraph. So it had us insert a blank line to begin a new paragraph. We're going to click enter again. And it's going to have us type in this full sentence right here. Okay. So it told us to insert another blank line and then to start typing this sentence right here. So type that sentence. You'll notice that when you're typing this, it is putting little dots in between the words as you type them. That is just showing that you put a space there like you're supposed to when you're typing it. So if you don't see those dots, that means you are missing a space that needs to be there. One thing that I see commonly missed on this assignment is that students leave this hyphen out of the middle of off-road. So there should be a hyphen in between the word off and road because it's a hyphenated word. So don't leave that out because then it counts it as incorrect when you turn it in, and it causes kind of a snowball effect. It will cause you to miss other things after that that had to do with that being hyphenated. So once I've typed that sentence, I am going to look down here and see what it says to do next on number 2. It says to press the enter key. So we are going to come down here and press enter. Okay, just like that. So now we can see ours looks exactly like this. Adventure. We have a line there. We put it in our text, and we have another line here. So we're going to go ahead and click the next arrow. This time it's teaching us how to do spelling and grammar check inside here. So it is going to purposely have us misspell a word on this next page when it has us type in this sentence. Well, it's a few words. So down here, it tells us to type in self-guided tours, but it has this word misspelled. Go ahead and misspell it and then press the space bar so that it will show you this red wavy line that appears whenever you misspell a word. Okay, so we're going to type it exactly like it is in the book and hit the space bar, and then you should see that red squiggly line show up there. And then the book goes on to show you how if you right click on any words that are flagged or have that red underscore squiggly line, it pulls up a list of possible corrections. And we know that in this case that the correct way to spell that word is this first one up here, so we're going to click it to select it. Okay? And so that's what it's showing you in this figure right here. So anytime you're not sure how to do something it's saying in the text, there's always a picture underneath it that shows you an example of how to do that. Okay? So we're going to come down and see if there's anything else on this page. There is, that was what told us to change the word to the correct spelling. And then that's the end of that page. And then it wants us to enter some more text on the page. So there's 5 steps here it wants us to follow, and we're just going to do those in order. So the first thing it tells us to do is press the end key on the keyboard, which is right above your arrow keys. Because right now we're not at the end of the sentence, we're after the word tours and not at the end of that space that we put in there earlier. So to get to the end of that space, we're going to click the end button on the keyboard. And then we're going to begin typing what it shows there on number 2, the word available. And then it says to press the enter key and type open March through October. Press the enter key again. Scroll down so we can see what we need to do next. And then it says to type in all vehicles and gear provided. And then enter one more time and type in the signature line, which is our last line of the flyer, to book your adventure. Call 555-8928 exclamation point. Okay, so we have typed all of that information in. It shows us on the page what that should look like. And then there's nothing else on this page with numbers next to it that shows us anything else we need to do. So we're going to click the next arrow. And we're going to scroll down and look for anything that has that number next to it, which this page does not. So we're going to continue on. It's telling us here that this is a good time to go ahead and save, and shows us some different ways to do that. So there is this little quick access bar up here at the top left that has this little save disk icon. You can click that and it will automatically save for you. You want to save fairly often because you never know when a glitch or something might happen where the computer restarts, the program crashes, and if you haven't saved recently, then you just lost everything that you were doing. Okay? It's real quick and easy to click up here on this little quick shortcut on the access toolbar, or if you know your computer keyboard shortcuts, you can just hit Control S for save on the keyboard really quickly to save as well. So we save that to the location. This just goes into more information that you guys aren't going to do, because if we were saving it online to our Microsoft OneDrive, then it goes into how to do all of that. But we don't do any of those steps. So we're just going to skip the rest of those and go on to the next page. On the next page, it is going to have us, so not do anything because it's just showing us about those formatting marks. So it shows you what it looks like without those P's, the formatting marks in there, and it also shows you when we get ready to do all this formatting to it next that it's going to have all this color and look bolder, more like a flyer because it's pretty plain over here. No, that's not going to catch anybody's attention. This, on the other hand, is going to catch people's attention. So we're going to go ahead and click the next page. And this one's going to go over fonts, font sizes, and themes. We're going to scroll down and look for our first number, which there is not one on that page. So we're going to hit next again. Okay, so on this page, it looks like it's teaching us how to center a paragraph. There's a little video up there again. We're going to come down to number 1, which tells us to go back to our Home tab. So we're going to click on our Home tab down here. And then it says to click somewhere in the paragraph to be centered. So in this case, it wants you to click on the headline paragraph. So we're going to come up here and click somewhere in the middle of this. I'm just going to click in between the E and the N in our headline paragraph. And it shows you guys down here they did between the U and the R. It doesn't really matter where you do it at as long as it's somewhere in that paragraph. And then it wants us to click the center button. So that's under the paragraph section right here. If you hover over something in here, it tells you what it is. So we're going to click that button to center that. We're going to scroll down and see if there's anything else on that page. There's not, so we're going to go back to the next page. It wants us to center another paragraph. So it says to click somewhere in the paragraph to be centered, which this time is the signature line. So we're going to scroll all the way down here to the bottom to this signature line and click somewhere in it. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back up here to paragraph and click center to center that on the page. Okay. So we did both of those steps and there's nothing else on that page. So we're going to hit next again. And now we are going to select multiple paragraphs and characters so that we can do some other modifications to them. So to select a line, it tells you guys that we're going to select a line, this time the headline of the flyer, to change the default font size because 11 point's too small. It's too small to get people's attention. So we're going to come down here. It tells us to move the pointer to the left of the line to be selected. Okay, until you see this little white pointer arrow changing like that. And when you see that, you can click. And sometimes that arrow, like I've noticed it's at the school and stuff, that sometimes that arrow doesn't come up when you guys go out here to the left of it and it's supposed to pop up that pointer. It doesn't show up. So another way to do the same thing is if you come to the word right here and you triple click it, so click it 3 times with the left mouse button really quickly, 1, 2, 3, it will go ahead and select that whole entire text for you. Okay, so you want it to select all of it, even with that paragraph symbol right there. Once we have that selected, it tells us nothing else on that page, so back to the next page, that we need to change the font size of the selected text. So there's a video again up there about that. It wants us to go to the font size arrow, which it shows you guys is on the Home tab right here. And it wants us to change the font size to 72. So we have our text selected, going to the font section on the ribbon. Right here is the font size. We're going to click it and go from 11 all the way down here to 72, just like that. And that's all the 3 steps are telling you on that page. So we're going to click next. Okay, so once we've done that and we have our font, or our headline right here at 72 points for the font, we are going to do the next thing it's asking us to do, which in this case is to change the font. Okay, so on this page, when it asks us to change the font, again, it's telling us to go to the Home tab, and it's telling us to go right here to this section to change the font. And it wants us to choose the one that's labeled Berlin Sans FB Demi, which should be installed on your computers there at school. And then change this to that selected font. So it should still be highlighted. We're going to come right here to the font section on our ribbon under the Home tab. We are going to go down here. These are in alphabetical order, and we're looking for this one right here, Berlin Sans FB Demi. We're going to go ahead and click on that to select it so that it does change our font to that. There's no other steps on that page, so again, we're going to click the next page arrow. And this time it wants us to actually change the case on the page. And so it tells us in order to do that, that we're going to stay on that Home tab, and right up here where this big A and this little a are at, that's going to allow us to change the case, and it wants us to change it to uppercase. So we're going to go right here and click on that and see how when I hover over it, it pops up and says change case, so we know we're in the right place. So I'm going to click the drop down, and it wants us to do uppercase, so we're going to click uppercase, and it's going to automatically capitalize all those words for us. And so we didn't have to go in there and individually capitalize each one of those letters. It automatically does that for you with that feature right there. We're going to see if there's any other changes on this page to make, and there are not, so we're going to hit next again. Now it's going to have us apply a text effect to our selected text. So let's see which one it wants us to do. So it wants us to click on the Text Effects and Typography button on the Home tab. And so it shows you that that is this button right here that is a white A with like a blue outline around it, located right here in the font section. Okay, so that's right here. And then once we select that, it wants us to find this Fill White Outline Accent 1 Glow Accent 1. And it tells you that it's the fourth text effect in the second row. So we're going to come down here and click on this. And so fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the second row. So here we go. It's this one right here. If I hover over it, it has that exact name that it told us to find. So we know that's the correct one, and it looks like the picture in the book. So we're good. We're going to click it to choose it. Going to see if there's anything else on here that we need to do. Yes, we do. So right here, number 4 tells us to click anywhere on the screen to remove the selection. So we're just going to click out in front of the word so that it doesn't have that highlighted anymore. We removed the selection. There's nothing else on that page, so we're going to click next again. This time it's going to teach us how to apply shading to text, so to shade a paragraph. And so we're going to come down again, and it tells us to click anywhere in that headline paragraph. So I'm just going to click over here in the middle of it, somewhere close to the middle. And it wants us to make sure that we're on our Home tab in the paragraph section. So Home tab, paragraph section. And this time it wants us to find the shading gallery so that we can choose this color here, this green accent 6 darker 25. Okay. The only thing in the paragraph section that has anything to do with color is this paint bucket tool right here. And if you hover over it, it does tell you that that's shading, paragraph shading. So we're going to click the drop down. It shows us in the figure up there that we want to be in this very last column on the next to last row. And when we hover over that, we do see that that is green accent 6, 25% darker, just like it asked. So we're going to click it to choose it. And it's going to go ahead and put that paragraph shading around there. The reason that we did not do this when we still had this triple clicked is because then it would have put the paragraph shading on this paragraph symbol 2 and carried it over into your next line, which would have caused issues when we go put a picture in here later. So you want to make sure that you click somewhere in the middle of this word before you apply your paragraph shading so that does not happen. Okay, so we chose that like it said. This is what ours looks like. They look the same. There's no other steps on that page. So again, we're going to click next. This time it wants us to select multiple lines of text. And so we're going to come down here and see exactly what it wants us to do. So it wants us to scroll where we can see all the text below the headline paragraph on the screen. Okay, so all of this text right here. So we're going to scroll down where we can see all of that. And then it wants us to drag the selection handle to select all of that text. So we're just going to hold the mouse down in front of the word explore right there and drag this all the way down to our last word there, provided. to select that text like it's asking us to. We're going to click the next arrow, and it's going to have us change the font size of that selected text. So it tells us again to be in the Home tab in that font group on the ribbon, and we're going to change it to 24 points in the font gallery. So we're going to click that drop down arrow and change it from 11 to 24. And it tells you that you're going to have to scroll down now to see all the text that you resized. Okay, so it's all changed. We're going to click next again. And then it wants us to create a bulleted list from some existing text. And so it tells us that it wants us to come down here and select just these 3 sentences right here. And on this one, it actually shows us that we can use this mini toolbar that pops up to do this with. So we're going to come down here and we're going to select just these 3 sentences. When we let go of the mouse, this little mini toolbar is going to come up, and it wants us to make this a bulleted list, okay? So the bulleted list is right here. It says bullets. You can click it from right there. You can also get to it up here on the ribbon in the paragraph section. It's located right here, okay? So you can get to it either way. So we're going to click that, and it's going to automatically make that a bulleted list. If you see these little arrows here, they're supposed to be there. It's showing that you have the right spacing between your bullet points and your words. So it's supposed to look like that. So this is just telling us to do exactly that, to tap that. It showed you right here to click on it like we did up there. So it shows you 2 ways you could do it. And then ours looks like that, so we know we're good. Nothing else on that page, so we're going to keep continuing on. So this is teaching you how to use the undo and redo an action. So down here, it tells us to click the undo button on the quick access toolbar, which is right up here. So we are going to go ahead and click that. What's going to happen is it's going to undo those bullet points that we just added there. So it removed the bullets. And then it's going to have us click the redo button to change it back. So right here is the redo button. We're going to click it to put that back. And then it tells you the other ways with the computer keyboard shortcuts that you could also do that. Control Z is undo and Control Y is redo. So we're going to click next. And now it's going to have us italicize some of the text. So we're going to come down. It wants us to find the word breathtaking up here in our first sentence and click somewhere in that word. So I just clicked in between the word breath and taking. And on the Home tab in the font group right here, it wants us to choose the italicize button, which is that letter I right there. So we are going to come down here and click that letter I. It's going to italicize that word breathtaking, which basically means it's just making it slant to the right. It's a slanted text. We're going to click next. And it's going to have us change the font color of the text. So we're going to come down and see how it wants us to do that. So it tells us that it wants us to be on the Home tab in the font group. Right here, the letter A with the red color underneath it is the font color, how to change that. So we're going to stay right here in between the word breathtaking. And we are going to click this drop down. It wants us to choose this orange that is right down here. Orange accent 2, darker 25%. So we're going to choose that one and click it to change that text to that color. And that again, it's just telling you to do that. It's telling you where it's located at, showing you what it looks like. That's what ours looks like. So again, we are good to go. So we're going to click next. And so now this one here is going to have us format the text using the mini toolbar that I showed you a few minutes ago. And if you don't use the mini toolbar for this step, it does count it as incorrect. So make sure that you always follow the directions in the book, exactly what it says, because it's pretty picky when it goes to grade it and it will count it as incorrect. So this time it wants us to go ahead and find some other text in here. So it wants us to double tap to the left of the line. Well, we're using a mouse, so we're going to actually do this. We're going to move the pointer to the left of the line to be selected, okay, so that we can see the mini toolbar. So in this case, it wants it to be this signature line. So we're going to scroll down until we see the signature line. And we're going to double tap. Well, true, we're not doing that. So if we, you can either go into the middle of this and triple click it like we did before 3 times really fast, and it will do that. Or you can come out here next to it and just highlight it like that and let go, and this mini toolbar will pop up. Okay, that's what we're trying to get to. Mine's going to go away when I go up here to go through the directions again, so yours may do the same thing. So we're going to go see what it says to do next. It wants us to change the font size to 28. Okay, so we are going to come back down here. If that goes away, just highlight it again so it'll come back up, so you can use that mini toolbar. Change it from 11 to 28. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down, and it says with it still selected, it wants us to change that color to that same orange that we used up there a minute ago. Okay, so I know that that mini toolbar is going to disappear, so I'm going to have to come back over here and do this again. And if it's the last color that you used, you don't have to click the drop down and go find it again. You can just click on that font color right there, and automatically will change your text to that color. Okay, so we did that step. Ours looks like that. That's the right font color, and then it says tap or click anywhere to remove the selection from the text, so we're going to do that. Click next. And now it says it wants us to select a group of words. So in this case, it's wanting us to select the phone number that's down here. So it tells us to just go out here and click to the left of that phone number and then drag to select it. So from here to here. Don't get the exclamation point or the space right there, only the phone number. Then we're going to click next. And it wants us to underline that text. So it shows us that that is located up here on the Home tab in the font group, right here where the U is for underline. So we're going to come down here and find that. Home tab, font group, U for underline. We're going to click it to underline that phone number, which is going to look just like that on both of our screens. And we're going to go ahead and click the next arrow. Now it's going to have us bold some text. So we're going to come down and see which text it wants us to do. So in this case, it says to select the text to be formatted, which is the word off-road, which is back up here. So we are going to highlight that text right there like that, which is what it shows you in this picture right here. And it wants us to bold it. So again, Home tab, font group, letter B for bold, right there like that. And then tap anywhere to remove the selection. Okay, click next. Tells us it wants us to zoom back to one page. So to do that, it shows you to go back to the View tab, the Zoom section, and click one page. So View tab, Zoom section, one page, which because we have our screen done like this, it's going to look really tiny on our screen. But it's doing that for a reason so that we can see what's going to happen on this next step. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and leave it like that for now. There's nothing else on there. We're going to click next. It's going to have us change our theme colors. So to do this, we need to be on the Design tab. So we're going to come up here to Design. And then on the ribbon, we are looking for the theme colors, which is not named theme colors anymore. It's just named colors. Until you hover over it, then it'll pop up and say the theme colors. Okay. It wants us to find the green color scheme. So we're going to click that. We're going to look through here. It wants this green color scheme right here. Notice how it changes when you go through these down here into your document when you're changing the color scheme. So it's going to go from our default that we had it down here to this green, and your color should change. So all that orange is going to turn to green, and then that's going to turn to like a tealish color. Okay, so we chose that. There's nothing else on that page, so we're going to click Next again. It tells us to go ahead and go back to our View tab and go ahead and zoom back to our page width. Okay, click Next. And then it just shows you some different techniques for selecting text on the page. So it just shows you some different techniques that you guys could use for that. Tells you that it's a good time to save again, so go ahead and use that save button up there or hit Control S on the keyboard. Okay, click Next. And now we're going to insert a picture into our document. So it tells us that we're going to insert a picture into the flyer, reduce its size, resize the picture, change the look of the picture. Okay, that's what's going to happen in this section. So first thing it wants us to do is create another paragraph. So it says on the Home tab. So we're going to go back to the Home tab. Click somewhere in the paragraph that's to be centered. So in this case, it tells you it's the blank line right below the headline paragraph. So here's our headline paragraph. This is that blank line right after it. So we're going to click in front of it. And then we're going to click the center button up there to center that. Click Next. We're going to learn how to insert a picture now. So we're going to come down here and it tells us to go to the Insert tab up here and then to click, this says From File button, but you have to click Pictures first to do that. So you have to go to Insert Pictures, and then it's going to allow you to go find where that picture is at. So remember, the picture, we downloaded it and we saved it to our W drive in that Chapter 1 textbook project folder. So we're going to have to go to our W drive, into our Computer Skills folder, Word folder, and that Chapter 1 textbook project folder in order to find this picture file, which is called Mountain Trail. We're going to click on it to select it and then click the Insert button, and it's going to put that picture in there for us. Okay. In the book, it's going to tell you a bunch of different other places to go, like your pictures file and some other files to go find that. Our stuff isn't located in the same place it is in the book, so you have to make sure that you go where I just showed you how to go, that it's actually in your folder that we created for class. Okay. So we did the insert, put the picture in there. We're going to click Next. Now it's going to have us zoom in and out on the document. So it tells us that to repeatedly click the zoom out and in buttons to watch the document size change. So basically it's just showing you where that's at and how to use that. So that is down here at the bottom right corner of your screen. There's a minus and a plus that allows you to zoom in and zoom out on your document. So it's just showing you how to do that. Okay. It just tells you to experiment with it, to try it out. You can also grab the slider and zoom in and out with it. It shows you. So it's just showing you some different ways that you can do that. And then it's going to have us resize that graphic. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it this size for now, because then you can see the whole picture to see what I'm doing with it. So in the book, when it's showing you guys how to resize the graphic, it tells you to make sure the graphic's still selected, because if it's not selected, then this Picture Tools format bar will not show up. A quick and easy way to get back to this toolbar if your picture isn't selected, so I'm going to click off of it just to show you this. And see, it's gone, it's not up there. The quickest and easiest way to get back to it is to double click on your picture, and then it will automatically bring that toolbar back up. Okay? So with it still selected, it tells you that it's going to have you use these sizing handles, which are these little circles or squares, depending on your computer, that are on the corners to resize the picture. It's really hard to resize the picture and get it to the exact size that they're wanting you guys to have it. I mean, you can drag it and start to resize it. And then you'll see up here that it changed the size, but it's really hard to get it to the exact size that they're wanting doing it that way. And they want it to be this size right here, 3.26 high by 5.04 wide. So I just have you guys come up here on the top right where it says size and manually type in those numbers. So if you click in here, you can just type in 3.26 and hit the enter key. And then click in the bottom one by the width and type in 5.04 and hit enter. And then watch what happens. Our 3.26 changes to 3.19, and this happens all the time because there's a setting turned on that we need to turn off. And so it doesn't tell you guys this in the book, so that's the reason I want to make sure that I'm covering it so that you know how to do it. So down here at the bottom right is the advanced layout options. You'll see these little pop-out arrows. They're advanced layout options. We're going to click that to open the advanced layout options for size. Okay. And right here under scale, we're going to see that this lock aspect ratio box is checked. And what that means is that whenever we type one number in order to keep the ratio of that picture to keep it proportional, it's going to change the number automatically for you so that you have a proportional picture. But in the case of this, they're not using a proportional measurement. So we need to uncheck that box and say OK. And then we can come back up here and click and type in our 3.26 and hit enter. And it will allow us to go ahead and keep both of those numbers that it wants us to have for the size of the picture. Okay. So we did all of that. We're going to click next. It tells us to zoom to 100%. So to go to the View tab, and this time it says to click this 100%. So we did that. Okay. I'm going to click next again. It wants us to apply a picture style. The reason it had us do that is so that we could see the whole entire picture before we started doing some things to the picture. Okay. So apply a style to the picture. To do that, it's going to have us go to the Picture Tools format bar up here. Okay. Graphics still selected to see that. And it wants us to go right here to Picture Styles. Okay. Which is located right here. It tells us to click the More button. So the More button is the little drop down here next to it. And it wants us to choose the drop shadow rectangle from the Picture Styles gallery. So we're going to click the More button. We're going to hover over these. I know that the fourth one over in the top row is the drop shadow rectangle. So I'm going to go find that picture and click on it to select it. And you'll see that it puts like a little drop shadow around our picture. It shows you in the book too, right here, that that's the picture it wants you to click on to choose. And so we did that step, and we're going to click next. Now it wants us to apply a picture effect. So to do that, we are going to come down still on the picture toolbar. Right next to picture styles over here is picture effects, like it's showing us. In this case, it's having us do the glow and this turquoise color right here. So we're going to click picture effects, go down to glow. Top row, last column right here, this glow 5-point turquoise accent color 6. We're going to choose that. It's going to put that turquoise color glow around our picture, just like that. Okay. And then it tells us it wants us to add another picture effect. So it wants us to go down here and add a bevel, an angle bevel. So it shows us the picture of what that looks like. So we are going to go to picture effects again, this time down to bevel. And this second one down in the first column is the angle bevel, which is the one it wants us to apply. We're going to click it. It's going to put that bevel around our picture, just like it's showing here. We did that. We're going to click next. And then it wants us to do some enhancements on the page. Okay, so we're going to click next. It's going to teach us how to do that. So the first enhancement we're going to add is a page border. So it tells us to go to the Design tab And page border is going to be out here on the right. So Design tab. Page borders is right over here on the far right. We're going to click that. We're going to scroll down here. And on this, there's like 3 steps it has us do. The first step it has us do is change the border style. So in the style list, it tells us to go down to the second border style, which is this one right here, to choose it. Okay, it shows you that in the book right here. And then it shows you to change the color. Now, this is wrong in the book. Okay, so the picture that it's showing you here is showing you the wrong color. When you go over to the next page, or right here, it tells you what color it wants you to do, but that is not the color that it's showing you here in the picture, okay? So that picture's wrong, ignore it, and do what color it tells you to do right here. It tells you where it's located. So we're going to come down here to color. It tells us that it is in the 6th color in the 2nd row. So we're going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1 row, 2 rows. So it's this one right here. We hover over it. It is Lime Accent 2 Lighter 80. So we know that's the correct color. We're going to click on it to choose it. And then it says to change our width to 4.5 points. So we're going to come and click on this and choose 4.5 points here in the list. And then it tells us to click the OK button. So click OK. Depending on your monitor, you may or may not be able to see this green border very well. Sometimes it's really hard to see, okay? But it's there. Click Next. Wants us to zoom to one page again, so we're going to go back to our View tab, to our Zoom section, and go to one page. Okay, so that's what we just did. I'm going to click Next. And it's going to have us change the paragraph spacing before and after. So to change the paragraph spacing, it tells us to position our insertion point, which is basically the little flashing line right there is our insertion point, and it wants us to do it in the headline paragraph. So anywhere up here in our headline paragraph, we can click. And then it shows you where to go to do this. So it tells you to go to page layout, which is no longer what they call it. This is changed, so this diagram is not correct either. It's now just called layout. So we're going to click the layout tab. And right here into the paragraph section, we're going to see paragraph spacing before and after. For this one, it's wanting us to change the spacing to 12 points. Right now it's 8 points, and so it tells us to click this up arrow one time, and that will change it to 12 point. And then it wants us to go down to our other paragraph down at the bottom, our signature text paragraph, okay? Down here, and click somewhere in the middle of it, okay? So anywhere in the middle of that to change our insertion point. And this one wants us to do the spacing before. So it wants us to change the line spacing before to 12 points. So we're going to click that up arrow twice. Don't do anything with the 8 point, leave it exactly like it is, and do the before spacing to 12 points. And basically what that's going to do is if your text had wrapped over onto a second page, is it's going to fix that so that everything is on one page for the flyer. It helps space it out. Now it wants us to center the page contents vertically. So for that, it tells us that we need to be on that layout tab still, okay? And we're looking for the page setup dialog box launcher. So that is that little advanced arrow that I showed you here to open up that dialog box launcher. We're going to click it. It's going to bring it up. It tells us to click on the layout tab. And then it tells us to click on the vertical alignment arrow and change it to center. So page vertical alignment, change it from top to center, and then click OK. I'm going to click Next. Wants us to save the document, so we're going to click our Save icon or hit Control S on our keyboard. So that's all it's having us do there. Here it goes through some steps that we don't necessarily have to do because it doesn't count them for or against. It's just showing you how to do some things. So we're actually, for the purpose of this video, we're just going to skip these steps. So we don't actually have to do these 3 steps right here. Well, 4 steps. So we're going to click Next. It shows you how to sign out of your Microsoft account, which we also don't have to do because we're not using the online version. So we're going to click Next again. Shows you how to exit Word, which we're not going to do because there's another step we have to do. So we're going to click Next again. Shows you how to correct errors and revise your document. So here it has you do a couple of things. Well, it has you do something and then it has you go back and undo it. So it just showed you how to reopen your file back up on this page. So we're just going to keep going until we get to the next page. How to open the document, which I already showed you guys how to open it from your folder. It tells you to click on the View tab again and go to 100%. Okay, click Next. Wants you to insert some text into the document, so it tells you to go and click right here before the W in the word with to make your insertion point right there in front of that word. Okay. And then it tells you to type the word today and press the space bar. So today space. Click Next. Then it's telling you how to delete text. So it's telling you to double tap or double click that word. So double click the word today to select it. And then it tells you to delete it. So you want to press the delete key on the keyboard, which is right above your arrow keys, to delete it. So basically it just had you type it in there so it could show you how to use another feature. Click Next. Shows you how to move text by using cut and paste. So it tells us to go to the last bulleted item in our list, this one right here that says all vehicles and gear provided, and it wants us to select that text, okay? So all the way across that text, it wants us to select it, so we are going to select that whole line right there. And then you're going to click and hold your mouse down, and it's going to make this little small box here that lets you know that you can drag the text. So we're going to click. I got to highlight it again because I was off the screen. I'm going to click and hold this mouse button down, maybe, if mine cooperates. And mine's not doing that little box, but it's probably still going to work. So we're going to try it. It wants us to click and hold the mouse button down and drag this text, and now it's popped up right there, up here in front of the word open, so in front of that O, and then let go of the mouse. And what that's supposed to do is move that up there and not bring this up here like this. That should have stayed down there on the other line. But it tells you that it's ready to be moved when you do that. Okay, if it does this, where it drags, when you drag that up there in front of the word open, it's supposed to do this right here. If it does not, and it keeps the word open right here like this, then just hit the Enter key and put it back and delete that last line down there. Because what happens is maybe you did not have that selected. So we'll go back and just double check it real quick. So see right there, I didn't have my paragraph symbol selected. It wants all of this selected. So I'm going to triple click it like I showed you guys how to earlier to select it. And then I'm going to click it and drag it up here and see then when I move it, it doesn't have that mistake that you just saw. Okay. So if you go to move yours and this line stays here, then you probably did not highlight your paragraph symbol. Okay, so the easiest way to highlight that whole line is to triple click it to select the whole line. Okay, once you have done that, That is the very last step. It tells us to save again. So we're going to save again. And then in the book, the last thing it tells us to do is to print the document. Like I told you guys at the beginning, we're going to skip that step because we don't actually want to print it and waste the paper. So we're just going to leave it at that. Once we have that done, we can close out of the textbook. We can close out of our flyer and go back into SAM to our assignment right here. You may have to scroll down if you cannot see the spot right here to upload the file. You may have to scroll down to see where it says upload file. You're going to click choose files. You're going to go back to your W drive, computer skills, Word, chapter 1 textbook. Make sure you choose the file that has Adventure Flyer and your name. I'm going to show you what happens if you don't. So if you clicked on a different file and said open, you're going to get this red box right here that tells you that it's expecting a different name, and it's not going to allow you to submit the file because it's the wrong file. So always make sure you do the correct file. So we're going to click the correct file, say open. Now we see we have our blue button to submit it, so we're going to click submit. It's going to show us that it has been checked. We're going to click the X to close that. Go to reports right here. Click view all reports at the bottom right. I'm going to have a bunch of scores in here from other class periods, but if I maximize this and make it full screen, I can find the class period that I just did that under, which is this class period right here. And it will always have the date that you did it. So right here, it shows it. And it'll either say pass or fail over here. And so I got 100% on that. Remember, we had to get at least 95% on it. So if you didn't get at least 95%, then you're going to want to close this and click this report right here to open it. It'll download it down here. You're going to open it up. And if you missed anything, see there's that enable editing button I was telling you about earlier. If you missed anything, I'm going to make this full screen for you guys, then it's going to have, we're going to turn the paragraphs off, it's going to have a yellow X right here showing you what you missed so that you can go back and fix it. So if that's the case, you would read whatever it is that you missed, and you'd go open up your document, make the corrections, make sure to save it, and then go turn it back in again on SAM and see what your new score is. I hope that was helpful and that you guys do a really great job on that. And we will have more videos on other textbook projects coming to you soon.